Welcome to today's budget adoption. Legislative Day number 10 will now come to order. Please rise for a moment of silent meditation. I will now call upon Councilman Crandall, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, is there a motion to approve the journal for the meeting of May 6, 2024?
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The journal is approved. Enrollment of bills, Bills 1624 and 1724 were passed by the council and signed by the county executive, are hereby enrolled. So, good morning, everyone, and we're here for the budget message. Good turnout. Okay, thanks again, everyone, for joining us this morning. As chairman of the Baltimore County Council and on behalf of my colleagues, county employees, and residents of Baltimore County, it is my honor to deliver the County Council's budget message for fiscal year 2025. I want to welcome everyone gathered here today, as well as those watching virtually, including our colleague, Mike Ertel. This includes the leadership and department heads in county government and public schools, the public school system, and the Community College of Baltimore. I also want to acknowledge and welcome all of our elected officials. If the elected officials here could stand so we know who you are. I see Scott Schellenberger. Okay, we have just one, but yeah, give Scott a hand. Okay. The success we achieve in Baltimore County is greatly enhanced by the wonderful partnerships we have at the county, state, and federal levels of government. Today, as we arc from a rainy spring into the coming holiday weekend that kicks off the unofficial start to summer, I am reminded of just how important this day is in Baltimore County. Since we became a charter county almost 70 years ago, each year we have met to chart the short-term and long-term future of Baltimore County. This process begins in mid-April with the county executive's presentation of the upcoming year's budget. The executive's budget address is more than just a fiscal briefing. Rather, it provides a synopsis of the state of our county currently and the vision for the future of Baltimore County. Then, for the next month after that, the council reviews the submitted budget and makes final decisions on spending for the coming year, culminating into today's adoption of the fiscal year 2025 budget. We are greatly assisted in our review by County Auditor's Office led by Lawrence Melkinson. Her staff go through the proposed budget submitted by every county agency and analyze each spending request and program. They look at not just the numbers, but also the policy decisions behind those numbers and provide us with invaluable information to make our budgeting decisions. I also want to thank Deputy Auditor Elizabeth Irwin, Council Secretary Tom Boswick, Adam Phillips, Chris Belcastro, and their support teams, as well as the respective legislative teams of each council. We held a public hearing last month so residents could have the opportunity to offer their comments on the budget, and we held hearings this month with the department and office heads to speak directly about spending proposals and to hear about their operations from the past year and challenges that lie ahead. The council also conducts its budget review based on recommendations from the county's Spending Affordability Committee. This legislative committee reviews projections of the county's revenues and expenditures and compares that with the county's economy as a whole to ensure that the county spending is consistent with the county's economic growth. I want to thank Chairman of the committee, Councilman Pat Young, Also, members from the council that are on that committee, Councilman Julian Jones and also Councilman David Marks. I also want to thank committee members Edwin Crawford and Dr. Deborah Carter, and the committee's economic consultant, Dr. Anirban Basu, for their time and expertise in helping the committee develop its recommendations. In addition, I want to thank Budget and Finance Director Kevin Reed and his staff for their efforts in formulating the budget submitted by the county executive. It is a monumental undertaking to ensure that the county's budget is balanced and within spending affordability guidelines. This is my 6th year on the county council and my first time as council chair. Being in this leadership role makes me appreciate those who have come before me, and I am humbled by my colleagues as they elected me chair this year. We are almost halfway through my tenure, and as I look back on the last 5 months and reflect on the budget we will be adopting this morning, I also think about how things have changed in Baltimore County. It's hard to believe the COVID-19 pandemic took hold over 4 years ago. The uncertainty that came with it, the loss of friends and loved ones, and the many ways we fought it and coped with the effects brought us to where we are now. Thankfully, the pandemic is firmly in the rearview mirror, but it makes us realize how important it is to be prepared. Then, just a few months ago, we were severely tested once again with the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, a landmark that stood over the entrance to the Baltimore Harbor for almost 50 years. We saw the horrifying video of the dolly striking one of the bridge supports and plunging the massive steel and concrete structure into the Patapsco River. We also saw vehicles on that bridge fall. It could have been an unimaginable tragedy if it had occurred during the day with more traffic, but we still lost 6 hardworking people, 6 workers with families and friends who were just going about the business of fixing potholes in the middle of the night and early morning hours. The bridge will be rebuilt, and we've come together to help those in need. The refloating and removal of the dolly this week is a tremendous accomplishment and symbolizes our collective resolve. But make no mistake, we will not forget those lost and will continue to support everyone who has been affected by this tragedy. We are also in the midst of significant change in county government. Over the past 6 months, we have seen transitions in leadership in several important county offices and departments, including human resources, economic and workforce development, information technology, public works and transportation, and government affairs. We saw the retirement of my friend, Administrative Officer Stacy Rogers, and more recently, we learned that Fire Chief Joanne Runn will be retiring in July. There will also be change in the Department of Aging with the retirement of longtime Director Laura Riley at the end of June. I want to acknowledge their great contribution and wish them all well and thank them for their service to Baltimore County. Although these changes have resulted in the loss of institutional knowledge within county government, we are fortunate to have a great bench within the government. We are fortunate to have a great bench, and these vacancies have provided others, mostly within the county government, with wonderful career opportunities and advancement. Our unanimous confirmations of their acting and permanent successors show we will support them and are hopeful the county can continue to move in the right direction. Perhaps most significantly, we may be in line for a change at the highest level of county government. I want to personally convey my congratulations to County Executive Olszewski on his decisive victory last week in the Democratic primary for the 2nd Congressional District. There's an applause line for Johnny. Come on. It will now be up to all of us, the voters of that district, to decide in November if this is his last budget as county executive and whether we, as the council, will be selecting another person to lead the county for the next 2 years through the end of 2026. If that is the case, undoubtedly things will look even more different this time next year. I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the coming retirement of Congressman Dutch Ruppersberger at the end of the year. He has been the consummate public servant to Baltimore County, serving as an assistant state's attorney, council member, and county executive prior to serving 11 terms representing us in Congress. On a personal note, I started my career in Baltimore County working for then County Executive Ruppersberger. It is a time that I will always treasure. Please join me in a round of applause and congratulations to Dutch on a well-deserved retirement. As I mentioned, over the last few weeks, we have listened to residents at public hearings and budget presentations by county agencies, received input from the Auditor's Office and the Spending Affordability Committee, and we each did our own deep dive into the county's budget books. We are encouraged by the proposed FY 2025 budget is within the Spending Affordability Committee guidelines. So today, on behalf of my colleagues for fiscal 2025, we adopt a total operating budget of $4.63 billion, which includes a general fund budget of $2.79 billion and a capital budget of nearly $310 million. We adopt the budget and fund the government for this fiscal year while we once again hold the line on property and income tax rates. We also approved the projected rainy day fund in the amount of $257 million, representing the minimum required 10% of general fund revenues. With the approved budget, nearly $362 million in surplus funds, including the $257 million in the rainy day fund, are expected to be available at the end of fiscal year 2025. The county's responsible budgeting practices keeps intact our precious AAA bond rating from all three major rating agencies. It may not seem that significant, but fewer than 2% of counties nationwide achieve this rating, and yet it has been a staple of Baltimore County government for many years. Put simply, the rating allows the county to save millions in interest costs when taking on debt to finance projects, this thereby stretching county tax dollars as much as possible. While we are encouraged by the county's strong fiscal position and fiscal prudence, we are also concerned about the fiscal landscape that Baltimore County is facing. We have a presidential election in the next 6 months and the uncertainty of not knowing what course the country will be on after that. We have an economy that needs to stay strong. Some important objective indicators such as unemployment and inflation have shown improvements, but higher prices for groceries, gasoline, and other necessities are of concern. We have less money coming from the state for our community college, and we also see the end of the American Rescue Plan funds from the federal government. Therefore, we have less money to spend on capital projects that can very much improve the lives of our residents and less to spend on new initiatives. This also means that once again, we're striving to provide our residents with important services, but within tighter financial constraints. As a result, we adopt the 2025 budget essentially as submitted by the administration, with only one modest cut to the historic courthouse space expansion from $1.2 million to $600,000. No doubt we have confidence in the administration and recognize the balancing of priorities must be done in a $5 billion organization whose main priority is to meet the collective needs of some 850,000 people. But we also have some concerns. One concern is with the Department of Economic and Workforce Development. This department is an important economic driver for the county. The department plays a vital role in attracting and retaining businesses, large and small, and promoting a business-friendly climate. For a number of years, the focus has appeared to be more on the workforce development function. However, we need to strengthen the business retention, and business attraction elements. These three pillars of economic development all need to be functioning at a high level for Baltimore County to succeed in this ever-changing business marketplace. Although the department has experienced turnover in leadership during the past year, we are encouraged by the appointment of new director Jonathan Sachs and are hopeful he will be given the latitude the department needs to implement his vision and to pursue a business and economic strategy that is second to none in Maryland. There are also concerns about the appropriateness of budget reconciliations in our public safety agencies utilizing budget surplus from the police department to provide funds for shortfalls in the fire department and the Department of Corrections. I'd like to see the Office of Budget and Finance review the historic expense rates for these three agencies and allocate spending levels accordingly in the future so that budget appropriation transfers to fund shortfalls are at a minimal level. Another budgetary concern is the Fair Election Fund. In 2019, we passed Bill 319 because a majority of this council supported the idea of providing candidates for county executive and county council a more even playing field and a means for obtaining public financing for their campaigns. The measure to establish a fair election fund system was passed overwhelmingly by the voters in 2020. We are now tasked with seeding that fair election fund. Although the fund will need to have sufficient monies for candidates beginning with the 2026 election, the budget includes $1 million for FY 2025 for 1 month of applicability at the end of June 2025. This is an opportunity cost for keeping $900,000 dormant in the fund, knowing those monies could be used for other worthwhile one-time expenditures to benefit our residents. We're opting not to cut that funding, but I do believe we should try to allocate operating funds so that they are spent in the year of appropriation. Another item which the entire council expressed concern during our budget hearings and budget deliberations is the almost $8 million to be spent repairing and renovating the building at 305 Washington Avenue, right here in Towson. When the county council was first asked by the administration just over a year ago to approve the county's purchase of this property for $6 million, we were informed the 5-story brick building built in 1991 was in move-in ready for county employees. Ready condition, I should say. However, we are concerned about the level of planning and communication with the county council on this acquisition and the extraordinary repairs and renovations that are now required for this building. It seems as though the Baltimore County Council was on a need-to-know basis, only being informed when a budget year appropriation or end of fiscal year action was needed. The recently adopted Master Plan 2030 calls for greater predictability and specificity in the 6-year capital program. Adhering to the plan will minimize surprise projects and allow Baltimore County to achieve greater continuity in the budgeting process. Nonetheless, we are now being asked in this budget year to fund an additional $4 million for HVAC, roof, and infrastructure repairs and replacement, as well as $3.5 million for renovation costs. That is $7.5 million for a building the county paid $6 million for in the first place. While we reviewed all aspects of the county budget and expressed other concerns, this one tops the list. However, at this point, we are also mindful that the county is now the owner of the building. And for better or for worse, we need to make sure it is in good and safe condition and that the anticipated renovations meet the needs of our employees. Therefore, with some reluctance, we are approving these items in the capital budget. Despite some concerns I just mentioned, the council supports other significant investments in fiscal year 2025. We generally concur with the administration's spending priorities for the services our residents demand and deserve in the realm of education, public safety, infrastructure, and quality of life initiatives. We have many assets to draw from in our people and places, and my colleagues and I on this council are committed to making decisions that will make each of our districts, indeed all of Baltimore County, a better place to work and raise families. That is our promise, whether it be in the fabulous 1st District, the beautiful 2nd District, the thriving 3rd District, the amazing 4th District, the fancy 5th District, the scenic 6th District, and Councilman Crandall in the sensational 7th District as well. We are all committed to all of our residents. I'm personally pleased that the County Council chose to support full funding to the Planning Department's budget. I hope in the future we can support hiring additional planners, as the Council stated in our adoption of Master Plan 2030. Adding planning professionals will promote the administration's presence in the entire county and will enhance area and community planning. In the area of public safety, I'm pleased to announce we fully fund our police, fire, 911, and corrections departments. These vital agencies are one of the main reasons people want to live in Baltimore County. Overall, crime is down and residents feel safe. They also know if there is a fire or medical emergency, our first responders will be there quickly and save lives. Specifically for the police department, we approve $11 million in overall salary enhancement, including COLAs and equivalent wage adjustments. We are also encouraged by the department's recruitment initiatives for officers, as well as its efforts to hire and retain in-house school crossing guards and eliminating outsourcing of these services. Not only is an in-house model better for public safety, it will also result in savings of about $1.2 million. We also support the expansion of the Assigned Vehicle Community Presence Program. This program began as a pilot of 20 vehicles 2 years ago and is currently being expanded by 100 vehicles. We recognize a full rollout of vehicles is supplier dependent, but we authorize the full request for this program. We also appreciate the public safety value of expanding the speed camera program with 6 more locations and 14 more school zone cameras. We need to continue our efforts to slow down traffic. Let me repeat, we need to continue our efforts to slow down traffic across the county, and speed cameras do work. They change driver behavior, especially in our neighborhoods and near schools. On the capital side, we also approved $22.7 million for the Wilkins precinct replacement and $2.6 million for the support and operations division replacement. For the fire department, we approved $5.5 million in salary enhancements to their deserving personnel. We also recognize the recruitment challenges facing the department. Although the department has reduced vacancies from 81 last year to 66 this year, filling vacancies is a nationwide issue as persons entering the workforce look for work-life balance and flexibility. A career in fire service is a wonderful profession and the backbone of public safety. We know the department will continue its efforts to market this great organization and get the word out. This also underscores the importance of our volunteer fire companies. We authorize funding of our volunteers in the FY 2025 budget of $11.5 million, as well as $2 million in grants for the purchase of medic unit replacements for Pikesville, Cockeysville, and Maryland line stations. I am also reminded of the bill Council passed last year to support volunteers and codify an increase to the Volunteers Length of Service Award Program, or also known as LOSAP. The monthly benefit, we increased that from 100 to 300. And as part of the budgeting process, we approved capital funding to the fire department of $11.5 million for the design and construction of the Catonsville Fire Station, in addition to the $13.1 million we previously authorized for this project. I want to mention the outstanding job our Department of Corrections is doing in hiring and retention. Guarding incarcerated individuals 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is no easy task. And my colleagues and I want to acknowledge Director Walt Pesterfield and his team have met this staffing challenge head on. They have succeeded in reducing vacant positions from 124 last year to 58 this year, and achieved a correctional officer vacancy rate that declined from 35% last year to just 5.8% this year. Congratulations on that success. In the area of education, we fully approve the funding requests for public libraries, for the Community College of Baltimore County, and the public school system. These organizations work hand in hand to provide our children with the resources necessary for them to learn and thrive and lay the groundwork for their success into adulthood. The council also values its partnership with our educational institution and welcomes a continued open line of communication to help them meet their needs. At the council level, we are often the first to hear directly from our constituents about problems or issues in individual schools or policy considerations from a broader perspective. I want to thank CCBC President Sandra Curtinitis, BCPS Superintendent Miriam Rogers, and Public Libraries CEO Sonia Alcantara-Antoine for their great work and commitment to public education. As to BCPS specifically, we are pleased to support the executive's budget allocation in the amount that is $41 million over maintenance of effort. This unprecedented level of funding clearly demonstrates the council's ongoing commitment to education, and we hope that BCPS will spend these monies wisely and provide our kids with the best possible education. Doing so also requires school facilities that are safe, functional. Excuse me, I'm nursing a bit of a cold. Doing so also requires that school facilities that are safe, functional, and perhaps most importantly, are not overcrowded. Over the years, we have succeeded in air conditioning in our schools, and we have attempted to address overcrowding by renovating our schools and building new schools to increase capacity. Although the county's overall population has modestly decreased or plateaued since the 2020 census, the problem with public school overcrowding persists. We are approving a FY 2025 capital budget for school projects totaling $118.4 million. This includes continued funding for Scotch Branch Elementary and funding towards the new Delaney and Towson High Schools, as well as the Westchester Elementary School roof. Despite our substantial investments, we are still faced with overcrowding pressures in a number of school districts. We also know this is a problem that has been many years in the making and has occurred due to a number of factors, including one of the oldest inventories of public schools in the state, the difficulty of keeping up with the demand for seats, the lack of meaningful impact fees as part of development, the natural turnover of neighborhoods from empty nesters to families, and limited redistricting, just to name a few. This current council does not have any control of these factors, but one aspect we can look at is the county's current adequate public facilities ordinance, known as the APFO. The APFO is supposed to ensure, the APFO is supposed to ensure that adequate infrastructure, roads, and public school facilities are built to keep up with development. The County Council last looked at this issue 25 years ago. Since then, much has changed, but our APFO has not evolved. I am the lead sponsor of Bill 3124 with several of my colleagues. We introduced this last month to reform the APFO, so it is a more meaningful check and balance on residential development in overcrowded school districts. It is worth saying again that this bill will only affect development in overcrowded school districts, nowhere else. I want to thank Dr. Miriam Rogers for reaching out to me to strengthen the relationship and communication with BCPS and the Board of Education with the Baltimore County Council. We need to work together to implement a meaningful APFO, and I'm certain that we will. Perhaps in the future, we can have a joint meeting of the County Board of Education and the Baltimore County Council to reinforce our partnership. This is just a snapshot of the council's overall budget adoption. The remainder of the council's operating and capital budgeting decisions can be found in sections 2 and 3 of the budget message and show the council's commitment to fully funding the county agencies and the needs of the county agencies and programs. Moving forward, we recommend that a budgeting mechanism, perhaps a supplemental budget submission, be assembled to include additional open space opportunities, especially in our inner Beltway communities, and provide funding for transformative projects in our older commercial corridors, like the Pikesville Armory. In addition, after nearly a decade of revenues derived from EMS billing, the council welcomes a discussion on utilizing some of these funds to provide additional resources to our volunteer fire companies. For next year's budget, I also think it would be beneficial to increase community participation at the early stages of our budgeting process, which is to include the Planning Board's review of the capital budget. Communities can then have an additional opportunity to provide input at the county executive's budget town hall meetings, which usually occur in the following winter. This would front-load community involvement in the budgeting process. As I near conclusion of this address, that's an applause line, I want to thank the approximately 8,000 county employees for their service. These employees serve the public each and every day with little or no fanfare or acknowledgement of their fine work. So today, on behalf of my colleagues, I want to thank you and express the County Council's sincere respect and appreciation of your dedication. We also approve the funding of all eligible salary increments and longevities for our valuable employees. The budget, in this budget we adopt, includes 4% COLA for sworn fire personnel, a $4,000 increase for sworn police personnel, and a 3% COLA or equivalency for all other county employees. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the outstanding work of my colleagues here on the DS in the Baltimore County Council. Over the past 5 months, this council has rolled up its collective sleeves to address outstanding and complex issues. First, the council offered meaningful review and revisions to Master Plan 2030 as we moved it for adoption. We also took on legislation to establish a mixed-use overlay district, and now we are engaged in a robust dialogue in our deliberations on the adequate public facilities ordinance. These initiatives occurred at the same time we just recently adopted the 2024 Basic Services Map and are currently engaged in the year-long comprehensive zoning map process, as well as the fiscal year 2025 budget adoption that brings us all here today. While we do not always agree on everything, the dialogue and debate has always been respectful and constructive. I want to thank my colleagues on the council for their meaningful contributions. And as I have said many times, and I'll say it again, this is a thoughtful council and this is a hardworking council. During the budget hearings, our deliberations, a number of specific issues came to our attention that warrant brief comment. These comments are set forth in section 4 of this budget message. Finally, during this Memorial holiday weekend, as you're enjoying time with your family and friends, please take a moment to give thanks to the men and women who serve our great nation, and especially those who have lost their lives protecting us and our freedom. This is especially important knowing that the world is currently not at peace and that there are parts of the world right now seeking to do us and our allies harm. Let us also continue to remember those lost at the Key Bridge tragedy 2 months ago. Thank you all very much for listening to me. Okay. We are going back to our regularly scheduled council meeting. Okay. Mr. Secretary, will you read all bills for introduction?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. There are 3 bills for introduction today. First is Bill 4124, sponsored by Councilman Patoka, zoning regulations, uses permitted in the BLR zone, animal boarding place, Class B, commercial kennel, veterinarian's office, veterinarium, or combinations thereof. Second is Bill 42-24, sponsored by Councilman Crandall, zoning regulations, uses permitted in the BM and BR zones, industrial uses in the Back River area, and Bill 43-24, sponsored by Councilman Marks, zoning regulations, Eco Park Overlay District. Those are for introduction. I just wanted to say one thing, Mr. Chairman, and to the members and everyone else. Because we now have 2 work sessions on legislation, these bills will have a quick work session Tuesday, May the 28th, and then they will not have a work session until the end of June, and I forget what day that June 25th, which is that last Tuesday in June, and they will be voted on at the July 1st meeting. So they'll be on more of like a 45 day schedule rather than the typical 30-day schedule.
Thank you. We'll now call bills for final reading and vote. Mr. Secretary, please read the first bill.
First bill is Bill 19-24, Annual Budget and Appropriation Ordinance of Baltimore County.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Is there a motion to approve Bill 1924?
Before we get there, there's just a few minor things that I need to mention.
Okay, certainly.
In keeping with the council's budget deliberation on Thursday, there was one cut made to the budget that was in the amount of $600,000 that the chairman mentioned in the budget message. That would be in the general government buildings program of the budget and appropriation ordinance. The only other items I wanted to mention that there are some technical, non-substantive changes. There are 2 references to gifts and grants that should be the Neglected Property Community Fund as well as the Housing Opportunities Fund, respectively. There is also several appropriations that were in the appropriation ordinance in error that you can see in your books, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. They are on pages 30, 31, and 37 of the budget and appropriation ordinance. Otherwise, it is intact.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Is it now appropriate time for a motion and second?
Sir, yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion? All right, I'll make a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Jones? Aye. Mr. Catch? Aye. Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Okay. Carries. Mr. Secretary?
Next is Bill 20-24, Property Tax of Baltimore County. Yes. That was, no, it was not the budget and appropriation ordinance does not, the amendment, it's not an amendment per se. It is because the change was already stated on at Thursday's budget deliberation. So the for the budget and appropriation ordinance only, that bill is not, in the conventional sense, amended.
So just to be clear, Bill 1924 passes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll go to 2024.
Next is Bill 2024, establishing the property tax for Baltimore County. This would establish a property tax in the amount of $1.10 for each $100.
Okay, any
Assessed
comment? Any members have any comment, questions, discussion? Okay, do we have a motion? I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones? Aye. Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, next bill.
Next is Bill 21-24, Personnel Law of Baltimore County. And I believe Renee Coleman is here to testify.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Ms. Coleman.
Okay. So Bill 2124 implements the changes to the classification and compensation plan as recommended by the Personnel and Salary Advisory Board or required as a result of labor negotiations for FY 2025. Section 1 of the bill provides that pay schedule 1C, 1E, and 6P of the standard salary grades for classified employees are amended to adjust the pay schedules effective July 1, 2024. Specifically, an 8-year longevity is added to schedules 1C and 1E, and grades 38 through 41 are added to schedule 6P. Section 2 of the bill amends several salary grades in Section 2, Classification and Compensation Plan, effective July 1, 2024. Specifically, the bill amends the class titles for 3 budget analyst positions, reallocates the pay schedules for the Certified Accountant 2 class title, and amends the pay grades for 55 class titles. Finally, Section 2 adds 5 new class titles. Section 3 of the bill amends a regulation in Rule 6 regarding promotions in Section 4 of the Compensation Plan Regulations effective July 1, 2024. Specifically, Section 3 amends subsections B and C of Regulation 6.01, which governs the number of steps on a new pay grade an employee's salary may rise if the employee is promoted to a class with a higher grade. Section 4 of the bill provides that pay schedules 1, 1C, 1E, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6P, 11, and 12 of the standard salary grades for classified employees are amended to adjust the pay schedules effective January 1, 2025. The administration has advised that there are amendments to Bill 2124. In Section 2 of the bill, the amendments reallocate the pay schedule for the Investment 1 class title and amend the pay grades for 27 additional class titles. The amendments clarify that the provisions regarding the Forensic Services Supervisor and the Fire Executive Officer class titles in Section 2 of the bill shall be applied retroactively to January 1, 2024. And lastly, in Section 4 of the bill, the amendments adjust pay schedule 2 by 2% effective January 1, 2025, and pay schedule 13 by adding an 8-year longevity effective January 1, 2025.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. Coleman? Okay, do we have a motion?
That's on the amendment. That there is an amendment to that bill, as Ms. Coleman did a much better job of saying than I could have.
So we're voting on the amendment?
Yes.
Okay,
So move. Second.
okay. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Okay, amendment carries. Ms.
Thank you all.
Coleman. Now we're going to vote on the, okay. Do we have a motion on the bill itself?
Move the bill's amended. Second.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Secretary, next bill, please. Sorry, let me just say that bill carries. Next bill, Mr. Secretary.
Next, Mr. Chairman and members of the council, are the borrowing ordinances. The first is Bill 22-24, Refuse Disposal Borrowing Ordinance.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Young.
there isn't an objection of the members. Motion to move Bill 22 through 30 onto a consent agenda.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Should I just read them all at the same time?
As long as that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Very, very good. The first, as I indicated, is Bill 22-24, Refuse Disposal Borrowing Ordinance. Next is Bill 23-24, Community College Borrowing Ordinance. Bill 24-24, Public Works Borrowing Ordinance. Bill 25-24, Parks Preservation and Greenways Borrowing Ordinance. Bill 26-24, School Borrowing Ordinance. Bill 27-24, Agricultural and Rural Land Preservation Borrowing Ordinance. Bill 28-24, Community Improvement Project Borrowing Ordinance. Bill 29-24, Waterway Improvement Program Borrowing Ordinance. And Bill 30-24, Operational Buildings Borrowing Ordinance.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Councilman Young.
not to take over, just if you'd like to offer for any of the members to take any one of those pieces out before we vote on them.
Sure. As Councilman Young indicated, any of the members like to take anything out?
Vote on separate.
Okay. Hearing none. Do we have any discussion on these items? Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Okay. The bond,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
can I ask a question of Mr. Reed? I heard something on the radio this morning on my way in, and they were talking about the spending ordinances. And they say on the radio that it was a quote from the county executive that because of the amount of this spending, we will need significant influx of cash in the future, revenue, or we're going to have to make significant cuts. Is that the way you see it? Were they, I mean, I don't know if they were accurate in reporting what he supposedly said.
Yeah, so Councilman, what we're doing here is we're advancing the referendum to increase our credit limit to the voters in November. And again, we would hope that would be approved to keep these projects moving. Now, with that said, you know, this locks in these projects. However, just like we have in the past where we've asked the voters to approve borrowing, if we have cash, we're going to pay cash first before we borrow that money. So again, that you know, our hope is not to use all of this money and then we'll have some other cash to use. But if not, we'll take a look at that as we move the borrowing ordinance forward to the council in the fall and winter and go through the process.
Well, thank you so much for your answer, and trust me when I say I have complete confidence in you that you'll work it out.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Director Reed, I have just a follow-up question to that. In the discussion that Councilman Jones mentioned and what you described, does that change in the upcoming years? What does that do to the percentage of our budget that's allocated for debt service?
So we expect debt service to increase, 7 to 10% per year, and as we take on new debt and retire debt at the same time. To your question, we anticipate that, we will monitor that as we move forward. We do have to keep in mind, and as the auditors pointed out, that we are within our debt margins and our debt metrics going forward. The one we will keep an eye on is the debt service general fund revenue.
This is probably in the budget books, but what's our current percentage of the overall budget, the operating budget that's attributed to debt service?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I could find that for you.
Let me just ask one follow-up question. Do we retire old debt at the same rate that we're taking on new debt?
With this robust capital program, we're taking on a little bit more debt than we are retiring at this time, but it kind of fluctuates. But we do have, the ability, we have AAA that we borrow at low rates, and we keep this cash flow moving and balance it within our budget appropriations.
Okay, thank you, Director Reed.
You're welcome.
Okay. So we have just approved, that was a really good idea, Councilman Young, to knock all those out at one time. Okay, next item is, we're now down at 3124, the Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance. Okay, so I think we've had significant discussion on this. We've had lengthy work sessions and public hearings on this, and I think what we're trying to adopt many of the recommendations of the Adequate Public Facilities Task Force that met in the year 2020. There are some amendments that have been posted.
Chairman?
Yes, Councilman Young.
Sorry, I was waiting for the Secretary to read the bill, but my understanding was that there was a conversation between the Council Secretary and staff with their counterparts at the IAC since the last, meeting that we had on this. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Young.
Is it possible to move, without objection or the vote, move to closed session to have a discussion quickly on the conversation that Council and staff had with the IAC?
So just to keep everything in line, you're right, I was remiss, and why don't we do this, Mr. Secretary, please read the bill, then we'll entertain Councilman Young's motion.
Yes, next is Bill 3124, sponsored by Council members Patoka, Ertel, Catch, and Marks, Adequate Public Facilities, Overcrowded School Districts.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Councilman Young?
And as I mentioned before, just motion to move to closed session to hear from Council and, Council Secretary and staff about the conversation they had with the IAC, which is the Interagency Committee on School Construction.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
How does Councilman Ertel participate?
We'll call.
You can call me.
Okay. Aye.
Okay, motion carries, so,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, Councilman
the
Grant.
reason I
Councilman
voted no
Cash.
is I don't understand what information we're going to get that can't be public.
I think we were just, one, in terms of in line with what the chair was discussing with the bill. So we're not hearing or moving forward in terms of what we were planning on doing with the bill, just to hear from them before that motion happens. Does that make sense?
I believe that the meeting, the subject is addressing a concern that was brought up during discussions on the bill, and I just don't
No worries.
understand why it's
Sorry, and
closed.
yeah,
but-
fair enough. I guess we didn't really think to. Also, we had 5 minutes before we got out here when we were discussing some of this internally, so we sort of just moved on it so that it didn't bog down the rest of the discussion on the actual bill. I guess we could have done it multiple ways, but I moved on this strategy just because of the timing between coming out for the budget message at 10 a.m. and having the information ahead of time. I can explain more.
So we have a motion that has passed to move into closed session. If everyone that is in attendance today could please indulge us for just a few minutes, we're going to get briefed by our legal counsel. Thanks, everyone. Talk amongst yourselves for just a few moments.
say.
Okay, thank you all very much. Do we have a motion? Oh, we're still missing some members. We have a quorum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we have a motion to move back into public session?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, okay. Councilman Jones, we just had a motion to move back into public session. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll. Motion in a second, I should say.
Mr. Patoka.
Aye.
Mr. Young.
Aye.
Mr. Catch. Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
Mr. Marks.
Aye.
Mr. Ertel.
I'd like to vote.
okay.
Mr. Ertel.
Aye. Sorry.
Randall.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, it carries. We're back in public open session. Thank you all for indulging our moment of receiving legal counsel. Okay, we're back to adequate public facilities ordinance, Bill 3124. And we're open for discussion. Any of the members have any discussion? There's been, let me just say then, there's been a lot of information that we've heard in 2 lengthy work sessions, and some of the details, I believe, still need to be worked out. So I'm going to make a motion to extend the APFO legislation to the June 3rd legislative session.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka.
Aye.
Mr. Catch.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Marks.
Aye.
Mr. Ertel.
Aye.
Mr. Crandall.
Aye.
Mr. Young.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, I just have a request of the chair and the members of the council. We're now scheduled for another work session on the adequate public facilities legislation, on May 20, what date is it?
May 28th, sir.
May 28th. And what I would like to see the council do is to present the amendments that are proposed to this bill and gear the hearing, the work session, to those amendments. We've heard in 2 meetings comments from the public about this particular bill. They've expressed concerns. There are amendments that have been drafted to address those concerns. And I think that we should have more of a real work session. I'm thinking of the legislature. A work session is different than a committee hearing. And I think we ought to have that. I think that the public should be given all the amendments before Tuesday. And I think the focus of the work session should be, again, the amendments. I think that, again, because they address many of the concerns that came forward. So, Mr. Chair, I would suggest that that be our agenda for the work session, because I think it'll get us a lot further on. And the concerns that have been expressed, the public will see that many of them have been resolved. So I think that's an important way to go.
Thank you, Councilman Catch. I think that's a good idea. We've had some lengthy work sessions, so we'll try to focus on the particular changes. We've had, ample opportunity to hear, and we'll have an additional opportunity. Okay, Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 32-24, sponsored by Chairman Patoka, zoning regulations, RAE 1 zone, location requirement relative to business zones.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. This bill updates the RAE 1 zone, which was created some 50 years ago. It incentivizes more modest density than RAE 2. I think we have some amendments on this as well, Mr. Secretary.
We do, Mr. Chairman. There is an amendment, I believe, being offered by Mr. Chairman that would reduce the location requirement for the application of the RAE 1 zone in the manner that the bill prescribes, being located inside the URL and within a certain distance of a business zone. The bill as drafted was 2,640 feet, and the amendment would reduce that to 2,000 feet. And the amendment would also apply that, in other words, the application of the RAE zone in the way the bill is drafted, located in the URL and within 2,000 feet of a business zone. It would apply that application such that a building with that zone could not be more than 5 stories high.
Okay, any comments, questions, or thoughts?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Katz.
Yeah, I had constituents express concern over the original bill, over the, actually, they believe, they're concerned that the original bill is written in such a way that this RAE 1 zoning could be applied beyond where people think that it's a good idea. And I agree. I do want this bill because I do intend during the CZMP to apply RAE 1 to a couple of areas in my district, but I don't need 2,640 feet. I mean, mine are right next to BL zones. So I talked with the chairman yesterday. What I'd wanted to bring it down to was 1740, which is 1/3 of a mile from the closest business zone. And in essence, we compromised at 2,000 feet. So what the bill then will do is any business zoning, if the piece of property that we're looking at to rezone is within 2,000 feet of a business zone, then the RAE 1 can be applied. And, you know, I would have liked it a lot less, but I think I can live with the 2,000. And I thank you for our conversations last night.
Thank you, Councilman Katz. Any members? Councilman Marks?
No, Mr. Chairman. So this was developed specifically to help address some of the concerns we heard at the work sessions, correct?
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Councilman Marks. We heard testimony that some of the folks that came in spoke about reducing the half-mile threshold, and so that was reduced from 2,640 to 2,000. Additionally, we're going to limit the height of, if you apply this particular land use measure to RAE 1, then you're limited to 5 stories. Now keep in mind, the former RAE 1 still exists if you're in a town center style zoning. So if you apply that, you can go beyond. This is kind of reducing the scale of the building, the mass of the building, if you're using the 2,000-foot threshold to a business zone.
Okay. Thank you for that. Most of the folks who seemed concerned were from Councilman Katz's area. So if this helps improve his threshold of support for the overall bill, that goes a long way for me.
Okay, any additional questions, comments, or thoughts?
Mr. Ch-
Yes.
Chairman, yeah, I mean, this does address many of the concerns of my constituents, but specifically, when you take a look at historic Lutherville, the thought of having high-rise apartment buildings adjacent to this historic community, to me, is just not acceptable. So this will help to pull them back, so to speak.
And that's exactly, Councilman Katz, why we limited it to 5 stories in this particular.
For the public, RAE1 and RAE2, those zonings are restrictive as far as how many, well, in this case, 5 stories.
Yes.
Restrictive as to the number of units that can be located within an acre of land. So this is restrictive, which is a good thing for various areas. I just was told I didn't have my mic on, and I apologize.
Well, we all heard you, Councilman Katz, so thank you. So any additional questions, comments, or thoughts?
Yes, I have one.
Councilman Jones.
Yeah, I know that there was a recommendation that it only be on the state road. Is that taken into consideration?
There was, so that's it's an interesting question. So
That's in the bill, by the way.
yeah, so it says, and the secretary and I talked to some of the stakeholders about this. So the BL has to be on the state road.
Okay.
And so if there's BL on a state road, on any of the arterials emanating from city center, those are usually the state roads. So you think of, you go around the county and you see those arterials. And so the BL has to be there. And then if you look at 2,000 feet from that BL or BM or any business zone, then there would be an eligible land use application.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, I think we're on the amendment.
Yes, sir. We just need a motion in a second.
Okay, I'll make a motion on the amendment. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Okay, the amendment carries. Mr. Secretary, any questions on the bill itself? I think we've discussed both that and the amendment. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll. I'm sorry, with the motion.
Second.
Okay. Now, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Yes, sir.
Jumpy there.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Okay. Bill carries. Bill 3224 is approved. Next bill, Mr. Secretary.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 33-24, council members, sponsored by council members Marks, Crandall, Catch, Ertel, and Patoka, County Charter, Baltimore County Planning Board, confirmation of appointees by County Council.
Okay, Councilman Marks.
Thank you very much. This legislation advances to the voters a change to the county charter that requires all appointees to the planning board to be confirmed by the county council. This bill is made more timely given the council's approval of Bill 3723, which provides $20,000 for the planning board chair and $15,000 for each member. Like the Board of Appeals, which is also compensated, the planning board is a critical panel in Baltimore County government, formulates land use policies, can introduce zoning changes, and is the first step in modifications to the Baltimore County Water and Sewer Plan. This is not an insignificant body, and the public deserves the opportunity to review those members recommended for appointment. I'd like to thank my colleagues, council members Crandall, Ertel, Catch, and Patoka for their support. I'd also like to thank We the People and several community organizations and leaders who testified or wrote letters in favor.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Marks. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts? Share with Councilman Marks. Okay, Mr. Secretary, do we have any amendments?
There is an amendment to the bill offered by the administration, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. The amendment would establish, excuse me, a term limit for planning board members of 3 consecutive terms, and there would also be an uncodified section that would state that upon ratification by the voters, the reappointment of any current member of the planning board shall be their first term with regard to term limits, meaning it would start essentially now, even for those on the planning board.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Councilman Cash.
I assume this amendment is yours because isn't it a situation?
Yeah, so this is the administration wants to submit it, so I will introduce it on behalf of the administration.
So, thank you.
Thanks. Councilman Marks?
Thank you. I've told the administration I'd be willing to support this amendment. I guess my frustration with the uncodified language is that you could potentially have a current planning board member who then is able to serve 4 terms, correct?
Actually, 6 terms.
6 terms. Well, then it kind of defeats the purpose of a term limits amendment. I'm a bit conflicted on this. It's not my amendment, but I'm just raising that.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay.
And when I say 6 terms, if they have been on the planning board 3 terms currently, they would potentially be eligible for 3 more.
And,
Councilman Jones?
yes, I'm opposed to the amendment only because here's a scenario where we, the council members, as well as the county executive, appoint the members. Therefore, if any one of us or the county executive chooses to not reappoint someone, why do you need a term limit on it? I mean, the term is 3 years at a time. So at the end of 3 years, if the county executive so chooses to not appoint all of his appointees, he or she has a right to do it. If any member here chooses to appoint or reappoint or not appoint a member, they have a right to do it. Why do we need a term limit on appointments that we all make?
Thank you, Councilman Jones.
I do have.
Councilman Crandall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Secretary, Mr. Deputy Secretary, to your immediate recollection, are there any boards or commissions? I mean, let me start with part of our thinking in coming forth with this legislation was to make planning board appointees go through the same process that any appointee that comes from the council, the same confirmation process, to make it consistent. And especially now that planning board members are actually paid Baltimore County employees, part-time, I guess. So are there any other boards or commissions, paid or not, that are term limited, to your knowledge? Just immediate, I don't expect you to do a whole bunch of research.
I think
right today.
I think the Police Accountability Board may be term limited. I'm trying to remember if the Board of Recreation and Parks is term limited. I think they may be.
Yeah, I think the chair of the Board of Rec and Parks is probably term limited. I'm not sure about the.
There are, I think, for example, the PAB is confirmed by the council. As Mr. Marks indicated, the Board of Appeals is confirmed by the council.
But not term limited, I don't believe.
No.
Okay. All right.
Councilman Young?
Thank you. Wanted to point out, I know that the amendment was submitted yesterday, and for folks that are watching, we changed the rules. And also, because we had a 10 o'clock meeting today, technically the rules stated that amendments needed to be in by 10, but we internally agreed that the amendments should have been in by yesterday so they could be posted appropriately, which they were. I just wanted to point out that part of the reason for having 2 work sessions and also deadlines for putting amendments in, which they were in within long before the necessary 10 a.m. and also agreement between us yesterday. This is exactly why we were extending the ability to discuss these bills and amendments so that we wouldn't be sitting at the dais going back and forth over amendments that either didn't originate with us but also came from somewhere else. So everything was within the rules and just stating that like this conversation could have easily also happened during one of the two work sessions. While I know that internal things need to be approved, it just makes it trying to avoid these conversations by figuring out, like, it seems like some pieces might be worth doing, but other pieces not. But now we're at the voting session, and now we have to make those decisions on the fly, where if we would have discussed them at the work sessions, or at least the concept of some of these amendments, we wouldn't be here having this discussion. So just wanted to point that out to the members, and also I'm not really in favor of it at the moment.
Thank you, Councilman Young. Councilman Jones.
Yeah, one further item. I talked about it's up to every member and it's up to the county executive to choose his or her appointment to the board. Term limits would actually take that right away from a member or the county executive if he or she so chooses to want to reappoint someone else. You're doing a great job. I can't think of anyone better. I want you to do it again. But unfortunately, we have this rule where I have to put you off and choose someone else. To me, it's just a burden that I don't think is fair to any one of us, and I don't see where it makes the process better.
Okay, any additional comments? I'll just share some thoughts on this. I do believe that some of our governing bodies in planning in other jurisdictions do have term limits. I know that the Baltimore City Planning Commission does have term limits. And so I'm just thinking through the dynamics of Baltimore County and kind of the field of planning. And I think there's some dynamics in planning principles, the planning field, that need to change with time. And so as we think about it, if we've had a planning board member that has served 3 terms, which is 9 years, or do we have some with 4 terms, 12 years?
I don't know exactly what.
Well, let's just use 9 because we know that there are 3 terms out there. And then we will, there's the possibility of appointing someone for an additional 9 years, 18 years. In my opinion, that's too long. The field is so dynamic, it changes all the time. Heck, I've got to, in order to keep my planning credentials, I've got to take continuing education every year because the field changes so much and there's new, if you think about it, resiliency and sustainability is something that's in the 21st century and we didn't think about it as much. And so I think that to keep it fresh, I think that if, and I'm willing to offer an amendment to the amendment or revision to the amendment, and if my colleagues would entertain this, is that if someone has served 3 terms thus far, or even 4 terms, that we allow for 1 additional term, and then beyond that, that's grandfathering in any members to serve 1 additional term, and then any new members would be 3, anyone else would be 3 terms, limit 9 years. Let's keep the board fresh. Let's keep the dynamics of addressing planning issues fresh, and that would be a suggestion. And also, it's consistent with other boards that oversee planning in different jurisdictions, at least in Baltimore City. I haven't had time to research other jurisdictions.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Jones.
Notwithstanding your continuing education, and I understand all the things you said, but what the part that's missing is when people serve these terms, it is because a member of this body has decided to reappoint them, or the county executive has decided to reappoint them. So it's sort of like, sort of reminds me of, I want to go on a diet, so I'm going to put a chain around my refrigerator. Well, I have the key. I'm the one that, if you want term limits, then don't reappoint your person. Or if the county executive wants term limits, then don't reappoint the people they appoint. As simple as that. Why put this burden on others? If somebody served 3 terms, then someone, either here or the county executive, decided that person should get reappointed.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Crandall?
Councilman Jones, you are, you're well aware of our difference of opinion on term limits. So I don't know if we need to go into those arguments about term limits for council, Congress, whatever. But if we're going to move our session forward here, I think that we should just consider this amendment as presented to us. I think I understood what the chair said is in terms of a proposed amendment to this amendment. I'd like to suggest that we amend the term limit language and make it retroactive. So if there are two, if there is a person that was appointed and they're nearing the end of their, say this year, and near the end of their first term, they may only serve 2 more terms. And you could do the math for someone that's already served 2 or already served 3. They would be term limited. And I do believe that term limits, and again, I don't want to go into the argument of why I support term limits, but term limits are a way to get fresh faces and new ideas into positions. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I've supported legislation for term limits for council members. I think it would be a good thing for members of Congress to be term limited as well. So I think, Councilman, Councilman Jones, you're being consistent with your views on term limits, and I think I'm trying to be consistent with mine and try to get this amendment right. So I don't know where we are. We got new rules on the council, so we wouldn't have to do amendments on the floor like this, but given the situation that we're in with the legislative session, the morning of the budget session, Councilman Young seems like he has something to say.
Councilman Young?
No, just from the amendment was within the rules. We purposely didn't address any because we are, as members, allowed to amend amendments in front of us that are within the rules, which it is. So I think the main cause and purpose of trying to avoid these conversations and lessening them up here is that there is public notice of seeing what we're discussing. And while we discuss it within the rules, which the amendment is, then we can amend at the dais a amendment that's within the rules, which it is.
Yeah, I do realize that we are within the rules. It's just something that I'm just making a comment that this is something that we were trying to avoid when we did adopt the new procedures. So as long as as our secretary understands my amendment to the amendment, I'd like to make a motion that we vote on that
And I second it.
to make it retroactive.
I second your amendment.
Right.
To the amendment.
And let's hear from, Mr. Chair, if we could hear from our secretary to make sure that we understand, have complete clarity on what we might be voting on.
Could I just make one comment? The one thing that's a little bit disappointing is that I heard about this morning. And so I'm doing my research between this morning and this meeting at the same time where we had the budget message. So I don't understand, and I would ask, and I almost want to remove this because I don't think it's fair to this council to have to do all of our research on this between what, I came in at 9:15 this morning and learned about it. I have some level of expertise in the field, chair of the council, but it's not about that. It's just about, like, did you know about this before or did it just come up? What's going on? And I can't really support anything until there's an explanation as to why there was zero discussion with this governing body. You heard the comments we made on 305 Washington Avenue, and now here again, we've got something that, I don't know, I think if anyone else had discussion with the administration, I'd be glad to hear that, but disappointed that I am first hearing about this morning. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, it came into everybody from Secretary on Friday. But that being said, so we had it before the meeting. notwithstanding the agenda, long agenda. So knowing about it and then having a discussion, I know internally in my office, we talked about it. I wasn't for it anyway, so didn't pursue anything more.
Okay, if it did come in Friday, fair enough, but there's a whole government affairs division, Ms. Walker. And so,
Mr. Chair, I do have to say that the administration reached out to me 2 days ago, and I missed the call on Tuesday, and I talked to Mr. Croner yesterday about this.
Yeah, I also want to say I did speak to Mr. Croner 2 days ago.
let me reach out to my, so Councilman Jones said he did not. Mr. Silberman, did we have any communications with the government relations office or the, whatever, the legislative staff? Just a poll, any of the other members? Did they reach out to you? Yeah, but Okay. Where are we, Mr. Secretary?
I think based on, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sir.
I don't think we need to extend this. You're talking about extending it? Bill? Yes.
Ms. Walker, go right ahead.
So again, as I stated before, and I tried to be consistent in my message, my understanding was that we tried to reach out and give briefings and have conversations, but if we have not done that enough for you, we are more than willing to extend it so that we can have the conversation to talk about the amendment that we requested.
Yeah. So certainly you can bring it back up, but right now the council is going to take an action, whether we extend it or whether whatever happens to it.
There is currently a motion and a second that is waiting for a vote on the motion to amend the amendment.
Okay. So, Mr. Councilman Marks, you have something to say?
First of all, I have to say I am briefed more by this administration than any other county executive who's been in office. So I want to thank them for that. And secondly, what is our amendment? That, I mean, I would prefer for this to be retroactive. And that is what I communicated to the administration. Has someone made a motion that expressly says what we're voting for?
Mr. Crandall made a motion to amend the amendment to make application of this act retroactive.
I will second that.
To the,
Okay, we have a motion
Mr.
and a
Catch already
second.
seconded it.
Did it already.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Well, can I,
Councilman
one quick
Jones.
thing. I just want to add one thing. This bill started out with confirmation of the members on the planning board. Now we're talking about term limits for those members. My only point is, this is significant. This probably should stand by itself. We're adding a significant amendment at the last minute that is probably more, has more weight than simply confirming the members on the board. That's my protest.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Councilman Crandall's amendment.
Is this the amendment to the amendment?
Yes, sir.
So just for clarification, Mr. Secretary, could you review the amendment we're voting on?
Yes, and just quickly, the amendment was offered by the administration that would limit the bill or limit a planning board member to 3 consecutive terms, while also adding an uncodified section that would state that the reappointment of any current member of the planning board shall be their first term with regard to their term limit. Mr. Crandall made a motion to amend that amendment dealing with the uncodified section that would state simply that upon ratification by the voters, that the act would apply retroactively to any member of the planning board and prospectively going forward.
Okay.
Well,
Is that correct?
no.
Okay. Councilman Catch?
Mr. Chair, as I understand it, that if the present member of the board has served 1 term, that individual can be appointed for 2 more. If that individual has served 2 terms, then 1 additional term. If they serve 3 terms, then they're out.
Yes.
That's correct.
Is that what you said?
By being applied retroactively, it would apply to current members and their terms.
Okay, you didn't say end term.
Yes, that was my intention, Councilman.
Yeah.
So the effect would be that if this passes, I would have to get rid of the person that I've chose for 3 terms already.
Okay,
And we have to have a motion to amend the amendment and then a motion and a second on the actual amendment, if that first amendment is passed.
We already had that.
We did not have the vote yet. We have
Say
to
that
have a
again, Mr.
motion,
Secretary.
we have to have a vote on the motion to amend, which we have a motion and a second. Mr. Patoka?
but this is the motion to amend?
Yes.
Not the amendment itself?
Correct.
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Nay.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel? So the amendment, the motion is passed to amend the amendment, and the amendment is, as we stated, that it would amend the amendment, the current amendment would be to have the bill apply retroactively to any current council members, current planning board members serving their term, as well as prospectively.
I will the motion's already been made, right?
Yes, motion.
So I will second that.
Who's making the motion?
No, we don't have a motion yet. I'll motion it.
Who second?
And just to be clear, Mr. Secretary, we are now voting on the amended amendment.
Correct.
Mr. Secretary,
Yes, sir.
we're voting on the amendment to the amendment, but not the overall amendment.
Oh, we're voting on the full.
We are voting on the amended amendment.
I thought the vote we just had was whether or not to be able to add an amendment to the amendment.
Oh, I don't think I understood that. I don't think I understood that. Let's back up just a second. I thought we were authorizing, I don't know if any of the other members thought this,
Yes.
that we are off the ability to have an amendment to the amendment.
We don't need to do that.
Okay.
We don't need to make an amendment within a rule. The amendment was within the rules. It was before us. We have the ability to amend an amendment. The motion was to amend the amendment to do as Councilman Crandall and our secretary referenced. That is what we voted on. We are now on the amendment as amended.
So this is, here's what I want to be clear on, because I know Councilman Jones and myself are not clear on this.
But I heard something else.
Yeah, I did too. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
since some people were confused about what we were voting on, I just think that we should allow those individuals to change their votes accordingly.
I would agree, because we want to get this right.
Yeah.
What is the mechanism for
If
that?
someone wants a mulligan, have at it.
Mr. Chair, if you'd offer for any members to change their vote, you can.
Okay, do any of the members want to change their vote? I do. I'll vote nay.
Mr. Chairman, so now we're voting on the amendment as amended.
Now we're voting on the bill as amended.
So the final vote on the amendment to the amendment was 5-2, correct?
Yeah, now we're voting on the
Now we're voting on the full amendment.
full amendment as amended, correct?
Yes, okay.
Now I am confused.
No, we're voting on the amendment as amended.
We agreed to the change.
Already been
Yeah.
motioned.
Yes. So we're voting to Councilman Crandall's change.
We did that.
Yes. And so now we're voting, it passed 5-2.
Yes.
So now we're voting overall on the amended version. Everybody got
On
that?
the
So
bill
Councilman
as
Crandall's
amended.
edit is in?
Term limits retroactive. Yes.
Okay.
We are voting on the bill as amended. No, we are voting on the amendment
As amended.
as amended,
Yes.
Yes.
because the first vote was the vote to accept the change.
So we have term limits plus Councilman Crandall's amended action. of retroactive. So that's it, term limits
All right.
plus retroactive.
And there is a motion and a second.
There's a
Not
motion.
yet.
That's a true statement.
Call the question.
Call the roll.
Is there a motion and a second already?
Yes.
Motion.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Nay.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye. Okay, so thank you all, and I,
Move the bill as amended.
Second,
Move the bill as amended.
second.
we have a motion to move the bill as amended. Do we have a second?
Seconded by him.
I second.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Yeah, aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Nay.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Okay, I have to say that was the most, motion carries. In my 5 years here, that was the most confusing, kind of circuitous, serpentine action I've ever seen.
One to loitering.
Okay, next item, Mr. Secretary.
Next is Bill 34-24, sponsored by council members Crandall and Ertel, loitering on or about commercial premises.
Okay, Councilman Crandall and Ertel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Everyone will be glad to know that I am not aware of any single amendment that would need to be amended, or we need to decide if we're going to amend the amendment or have the ability to amend the amendment, and figure out if we need to vote on whether we have the ability to amend the amendment. None of that in this bill, although that last bill was fun. This bill would strengthen the county's current language with regard to loitering around a commercial premises. The language in the code is probably decades old, and what the bill tries to do is just give the loitering ordinance in Baltimore County a little bit more teeth and a little bit more definition, so that our police department can enforce loitering as a violation. It establishes a 50 feet circumference around the commercial premises, which would be an unlawful area in which to loiter, and it also establishes a time frame for how long a directive from a police officer to leave a property would be effective, and that time period would now be defined as 48 hours. I thank Councilman Ertel for his co-sponsorship, and hope that my colleagues can support what I think is a pretty common sense measure. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Do any of the, Councilman Ertel, would you like to say something?
I'm just in full support of the bill, and I have no amendments to any of
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Catch.
Yeah, I guess it's a month or two ago, I put in legislation to dealing with the sandwich boards, in the use of sandwich boards and the problems that they were causing in my district and in the county. And in essence, this bill goes another step further, because unfortunately, the sandwich boards are gone. But guess what? There are still people who are hanging around the store, and I think they're bothering customers, telling customers to go somewhere else to shop. So I think this is a good piece of legislation that really just tags right along with the bill that we passed several months ago.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Councilman.
Thank you, Councilman Catch. And I think the part of the genesis of this bill was also even a bit more serious. Not that people harassing customers as they're trying to patronize a Baltimore County business is is not serious. It certainly is, but there are instances in certain parts of Baltimore County, and certainly in the 7th District, unfortunately, that people are using commercial property for nefarious purposes and illegal purposes. And the police department, let's say for it's narcotics, the police department would know a known offender, but would have to make the case to arrest a person for selling narcotics. However, if they can't make the case, they really don't have a lot of authority to tell someone to move along from a property, even though the police department may know this person well, and have probably even arrested an individual, the same individual at this very same property for a more serious offense than loitering. So that was part of the genesis for this, is just the illegal activity that is sort of can sometimes coincide with loitering. So thanks, Councilman Catch. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any additional comments, questions? Okay.
Motion approved.
Motion. Okay, Councilman Hertel, seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Okay. Bill carries. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, Bill 35-24. This bill was withdrawn prior to the meeting.
Okay. Okay. Next bill, Mr. Secretary.
I believe those are all the bills for final reading and vote. And I think next is fiscal matters and contracts, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's move then. And we have Seth Blumen. Mr. Blumen?
We can, I think we had the testimony at the work session, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, for both. I can read those two items.
We did have extensive testimony at the work session. Let me just find my place here. Okay, do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts on the fiscal matters we heard at the work session?
Do you want me to read those matters, sir?
Yes, please.
First is fiscal matter 1, a contract with Siemens Industry Incorporated. And fiscal matter 2 is a contract of sale with Threadneedle Baltimore LLP.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Cash.
Thank you. One of the issues that's been brought to my attention, and I'm certain to the attention of Baltimore County, deals with people who live in townhouses and the problems and the expense that those individuals incur if they want to install a EV charger. It deals with, especially if there's a sidewalk in front of their house, in essence, because of the ADA, you cannot have a wire over a sidewalk because it's a hazard. And let me just sum it up by saying that the projected cost of installing one of these chargers in front of a townhouse is about $7,000 because of all the steps that they have to go through. I'm hoping that this study will come up with a more reasonable solution to this particular problem. Because if we're going to go to electric vehicles, it doesn't make much sense to really penalize people who live in townhouses. So I don't know if Siemens is looking into that issue as well. I figure you needed the exercise.
Mr. Blumen, coming up.
Yeah, thank you for the question. This study just focuses on county-owned properties that were started. We understand that issue and we're addressing it as well. We're looking into options, but this is just focused on county-owned locations where we're going to put future chargers.
But you are addressing that issue.
We're looking into it, yes.
Good, please
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of community members have come to us with those
look
questions.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilman Marks.
I want to echo what Councilman Katz said. We have good friends who live in the Seven Courts Community, Perry Hall, and they have a Leaf, the type of electric vehicle, and literally, you know, the concern is running a big electrical cord out over the sidewalk to this car. So I completely agree with you, Councilman Katz, and hopefully we can look into that.
Thank you.
Councilman Young.
And because we're talking about, I would like to agree with Councilman Katz and Councilman Marks, because I've had the same issue with community associations coming and asking how they can be a partner in doing this, even though installing one at the townhome communities has become expensive and not tenable for the community or for the individual members. So wanted to voice my support for looking into that as well.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Blumen. I'll just make one comment. I just want to thank CEO of Baltimore County Public Libraries, Sonia Alcantara Antoine. She called me regarding the 8212 Liberty Road acquisition. So I appreciate the good communications. It's a project that I'm going to support. Okay. Okay, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on all fiscal matters.
We just need a motion and a second, sir.
Okay, motions. We have a motion on fiscal matters?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Now, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on all fiscal matters.
Yes, sir. Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Katch?
Aye.
Okay, we'll now consider miscellaneous business. Mr. Secretary, first item.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, whenever a contract over $25,000 is awarded by a process other than formal competitive bid, it is required that a copy of the contract be given to the council and the nature and parties to the contract be announced by the secretary at the next legislative session following award. There are 3 such agreements to be announced today. The first is a supplier contract with Fluid Solutions Incorporated. This is for the purchase of a HOMA, H-O-M-A brand and pump parts. Fluid Solutions is the sole supplier of HOMA pumps and pump parts for the state, and 17 HOMA pumps are currently in use at 8 of Baltimore County sewage pumping stations. The 5-year estimated award total is $100,000. Next is a purchase order with Xylem Water Solutions USA Incorporated. This is for the repair and FM approved explosion proof recertification of the Fliggett pumps. They are the sole manufacturer of the pumps and the only vendor that can perform the repair service and provide the certification. Award total of $41,276.20. And finally, a purchase order with User Testing Technologies Incorporated. This will provide for the annual software subscription of User Testing Insight Core Premium Edition. The software is subscription-based and provides user testing for county websites through the Office of Information Technology. Award total $45,796.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Next item.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Resolution 28-24, the 2023 Triennial Review of the Baltimore County Water Supply and Sewerage Plan.
Okay, we have Ms. Eichholz to bring some testimony on this.
Morning, Council Chairman Patoka and members of the council. My name is Lisa Eichholz. I'm the Chief of Bureau of Engineering in the Department of Public Works and Transportation. And today we're just here to again discuss the 2023 Triennial Review of the Water and Sewer Master Plan. This document is required by the State of Maryland Regulation 260301, and that requires all counties to review their plan at least every 3 years. In October of 2023, we submitted the plan to the Planning Board, and it was reviewed, and there was a public hearing held. They approved the plan in the same month. Later that year, we also submitted a draft of the plan to MDE for their review, and in March, they provided a temporary, or a approval of the draft as provided. The next step now is for your consideration of approval, and if approved, we will return the final plan to MDE for their final review and sign off. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. Eichholz. Any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. Eichholz? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion?
So
Approve
moved.
Resolution 2824.
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second? I'll second. Okay, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Okay, Mr. Ertel? Okay, we'll move it. The motion carries. Mr. Secretary, next item.
Next is Resolution 2924. This is a resolution, sponsored by Councilman Catch. This is a resolution that would authorize the refund to Francis Robluski, who as a blind person is entitled to a partial exemption under state law.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Catch.
yes, it's my honor to move Resolution 2924.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Okay, I think Mr. Ertel is not with us right now.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Okay, resolution carries. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
You may go.
Next are items for introduction only this afternoon, Mr. Chairman. First is Resolution 30-24. This would authorize the expenditure of non-local funds by the Baltimore County Board of Education, again for intro only. Next is Resolution 31-24, sponsored by Councilman Ertel. Properties in Design Review Area, Historic East Towson, Comprehensive Manual of Development Policies for introduction only. Next is Resolution 32-24, sponsored by Councilman Ertel. Approval of the continued review of planned unit development, Lock Raven Overlook for introduction only this evening. That is also on similar to a bill path, so that would not be voted on at the next meeting, but will be voted on at the meeting after that on July 1, and resolution for intro only, and Resolution 33-24 is sponsored by Councilman Marks and would authorize the reclassification of county-owned land as public parkland in the Perry Hall and Kearney area for introduction only this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Is there any further business to come before the council?
There is no further business, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. We're meeting at 3, right?